Welcome, podcasters. This is your host, Winston Bailey of Going Up. You are back at another show where we're going to be interviewing a gentleman by the name of Adam David Jones. But before we get into that, this podcast is brought to you by The Item. The Item stands for the Inclusive Technology Entrepreneurship Movement. And what does that mean? Basically, the Item's main focus and mission is to ensure everyone can participate in the emerging tech sector. The Item offers flexible, low-cost training and resource to new techies, career professionals, and entrepreneurs, providing them with highly marketable and practical technology skills. The Item also created a great pipeline to career pathways in the emerging technology sector. Again, this is your host, Winston Bailey, on the Going Up podcast. This podcast focuses on the real issues concerning diversity and inclusion in tech and allows budding tech entrepreneurs to exercise their pitching skill sets among our thousands of listeners. Our topics focus on access to capital, mentorship, and the challenges of breaking in with your first tech product or your MVP. So the format of the show, to the ones that are new listening in for the first time, each guest has an opportunity to give a 60-second pitch as if though they were pitching to a VC investor, angel investor. And following that, we take a bit of a deep dive and drill down as much as possible with respect to the individual's product and or service. Again, today our guest is Adam David Jones. Adam David Jones is the owner, founder of the One and Only Corp. The One and Only Corp created a app that's also known as Zeer crypto token currency. And it basically focuses on an interface that allows users to share information over a blockchain of particular events related to crises. So with that said, Adam, you are up.
All right. Thanks very much. My name is Adam Jones. I'm the owner of the One and Only Corp, and our product Zeer is to keep people safer on the street. If you die in a crisis, you don't have a lot of time to think. You might not even know where you are. You can dial 911 using our technology, and that pushes the data to 911 dispatch, and they can see where you are, what's happening to you in real time, share the medical information. You can even push it to your closest friends and contacts and relatives in real time using our application. And then the blockchain encrypts that data so it can be used to prosecute criminals or prevent crime and sexual assault, et cetera, later. As a victim, that's why I started this, never received justice. And this way, nobody else is going to have to go through what I went through.
Okay. Go ahead.
So obviously the demographic is kind of everybody. I would really like it would be a native app on every Android and iOS phone, every Apple phone. But the people that are going to pay for it, hopefully, will be the tax dollars. Hopefully, will be the city government. They'll see the value in this. They'll embrace it.
Okay. All right. So bear with us.
All right. Take it.
So that was Adam's 60-second pitch. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back with Adam David Jones of the One and Only Corp. Adam, for the first part of the show, was able to give his 60-second pitch. And each 60-second pitch must have these specific elements, which is who you are, your company name, the problem the individual has to describe, the pain point, their value proposition, and their magic. What's the secret sauce of their product? I encourage, every listener and every guest that we have to surf the web to see some great articles related to what you should have in your 60-second pitch. The owner of the Item, definitely references Guy Kawasaki, who has created a number of videos out there on, what you should have in a PowerPoint presentation for your 60-second pitch. So with that said, Adam, the first question I'm going to ask is, who are you? Give me your company name, give me the meaning behind your company name, and we're going to follow from there.
Okay. Well, I'm Adam Jones. I used to be an actor, and then I got attacked and was in a coma for a long time, and now I decided I'm going to try to dedicate my life to stopping that from happening to other people.
Okay. So this happened out of a personal crisis that you've experienced. Yeah. Great. Okay. So what's the name of the company again? For the audience?
The One and Only Corporation.
The One and Only. Now, what's the meaning behind that?
Not much of one. It's just a funny phrase that a lot of people used to say to me, and I used on my voicemail when I was an actor. Say, hi, this is Adam David Jones, the one and only. Please leave your message. I work for your commercial, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. So personal pitch and branding. All right. So if you can describe the problem or the specific pain point that this application is solving.
Okay. Well, the most important one, the most direct one, is that when crime happens to somebody and there's no other witnesses, this product can be the witness. This product can ensure that it's not his versus her word. It's not he said, she said. It's fact. When you use this product, you record the facts while you are calling 911, while you're sharing your medical information and geolocation with first responders. It's a way to keep people safer and for people to stick to the truth. And that's important to me when it comes to the police interface, because I want to raise the bar for the police departments across this country and make it more equitable and make policing fair. That's one of the reasons I'm trying to work with the Players Coalition and the Malcolm Jenkins Foundation.
Okay. And what's the value proposition that you have for your prospective customers?
Well, for the government, for police, the value is that they can gain trust again between themselves and the public. They can train them. The brass can train the beat cops so much better because they can watch what they're doing in real time through their body cameras at the station and say, you did a good job here, you did a bad job there. Better training is an obvious start to more equitable police practices. The value prop for the public is that they can gather evidence. If you're getting assaulted, God forbid you're getting sexually harassed, whatever, you can record this and it can be used in court later to prosecute that SOB and stop him or her from doing that stuff again.
Okay. Yeah. And for civilians, I'm sorry. So you got the civilian piece and you have the professional law enforcement, and there's different value propositions for both. Okay. So
correct.
I didn't hear the distinction between the two.
Oh, okay. The distinction is, well, the back end blockchain technology does not really change from one to the other. It's mostly just a user interface. When the public can use it to protect themselves and hopefully dissuade criminal violence, and the police can use it to re-engender trust and create a chain of custody, a chain of evidence that is more secure than is currently used anywhere across the United States right now.
Okay. All right. What's the magic?
Of digital evidence, obviously, not, of course, well, actually, there is some value to that too, but what I'm focused on is digital evidence, video and audio from body cameras and dash cameras mostly.
Okay.
It could be used for security cameras too, though, but that's later down the line. Right now, I'm just trying to do one little thing at a time.
Okay. What's the magic? What's the secret sauce? Why is this product special?
Well, because it's using blockchain, not to make some coins that people trade on the market, which in essence, but it will only do that because it will be securing that data across a decentralized platform. Blockchain has so many potentials, much, much, much more beyond Bitcoin, which was a great idea, obviously, but it can be used to secure digital evidence that is so much better than being used currently in the United States or anywhere pretty much across the world.
Okay.
That's the really unique thing. That and just having the right people on my team, because without them, I can't do this. I don't know how to code. I'm just a pretty face.
Got it. Cool. All right. So this is going to go into our other half of the show. We will be right back. Welcome back to the third half of the Going Up podcast with your host, Winston Bailey, and our guest, Adam David Jones. Adam is the CEO and founder of the One and Only Corp and has created a great application for people that are civilians that are being attacked,
Yep.
that need
Yep.
data out there to protect them in the event that they have to present their case in a court of law. Adam, you're back.
All right. Thanks, Winston. Thanks. So yeah, what I'm trying to do here is protect people when you're on the street and create a chain of evidence that can be used to hopefully dissuade violent crimes from happening to you or your children or your grandparents or your friends. When you're out in the streets and something goes down or you're in a city that you don't know, this application should hopefully be able to help people.
Right. Now, Adam, let me ask you a question. I mean, this app is basically for people to use in a crisis.
Yes.
And I like to tease that out a little bit because there could be
Okay.
a lot of periods of inactivity where sometimes people may even forget that they have the actual application on their phone. So have you considered specific niches within that customer base? So you mentioned civilians. Have you looked at the elderly population? Have you looked at the special needs population? Have you looked at perhaps victims that are individuals that already have been victims of violent crimes? Have you looked at third world countries? Have you looked at perhaps with that for children? So if you can give me an idea of a little bit more detail of the customer base, why you chose that customer base, and go from there.
Okay, thanks a lot, Winston. Thank you. Thanks for helping clarify that. So, let me think here. So well, first of all, if you download my application and you forget all about it, kind of like you said, because hopefully you don't have to call 911, once a week. Hopefully. So, 2 years later, you do have to call 911. You completely forget about the app. That's fine. Our API would if you okayed it when you signed up, if you dial 911 from your smartphone, it will immediately start the app and start recording and sharing that data with first responders. Now, some of the people that you brought up, you said something about third world countries. That is definitely something that I thought of. I mean, you have Syria is a great example, or Yemen. You have Saudi Arabia and Yemen claiming that this didn't happen. Well, my app could verify that it happened in real time. The blockchain technology is a way to ensure the data cannot be corrupted, cannot be hacked, cannot be manipulated. It's much more than cryptocurrency and money. It's a verifiable way to secure information. That's what's useful to me. And that way, you can push back against these dictators and authoritarian regimes across the world who say this or that never happened. You could prove that it happened. Just the way you could prove, let's say that your kid's walking home from school and you made sure that this application was downloaded on their phone, and they don't even have to call 911. They can just open the application and store this data to the blockchain, and it's verifiable. And they keep getting beat up by the same kid, and this kid keeps saying, I didn't do that. I didn't do that, or stole your daughter's or son's bike or something like that. I mean, it's inconsequential, but it's consequential to them. And they can prove that this really happened, and there's no disputing it. That is the value. And I think that there are, a lot of people that this is valuable for. Again, he said, she said, sexual assault victims, this is so valuable. Domestic victims, this will be so useful to prove what that SOB did. And that's really what I'm trying to do. And it can be used as simply as every time if you're a bartender, every time you get off, you walk to your car, you got a lot of cash on you, you can have a passive record option that, it records 15 minutes before you end your shift up to 15 minutes after when you get home in Brooklyn or what have you.
What's your business model?
Well, right now it's building the product, testing the product, and the idea is, the real idea that the value that I can actually make some money besides helping people is great, but we got to be able to make some money to keep the business going, is sell it to municipalities. I've been in touch with Larry Krasner's office in Philadelphia. I've been in touch with Seattle's police chief, Dallas-Fort Worth mayor, and a lot of other places across the United States.
Okay.
They're interested in it.
Okay.
And they could pay us, for example, one real quick example, Chicago, which I'm going to Tuesday. Oh, well, Wednesday morning I'll get there. In Chicago, they pay $50 to $55 million per year for police misconduct allegations. If the city government used this and put it on the police body camera and dash camera, and sorry to switch gears a little bit, but they could pay us 1% of that $55 million. All of their citizens can use this application to help gather evidence of crimes, make the police transparent, and make everyone's job easier. And they would probably save $20 million a year or more.
So let me ask you. So it sounds like this is a business enterprising application, and it also sounds like you will be licensing access to
Right.
For that information. Okay. Do you know
right.
how much
That way, what's important to me, real quick, what's important to me is that everybody has access to it, and I don't want people to have to pay $30 to download it when they don't have $30. But the city government, it will make their job easier, and everybody will be able to use it within city limits or whatever, and that way I can run the business and everybody can be safer. That's important to me.
Have you considered licensing with certain mobile carriers? Certain cell phones have a lot of security systems in it, phone tracking. iPhone has phone tracking. Some of them have like an emergency profile. If the person, gets stopped by an emergency paramedic because of whatever health condition they're having, or police, they'll know the type of medication they're on. They'll know their mental illness or physical ailments and things like that. Have you ever thought about licensing with mobile carriers to say, hey, could you add this as part of your list of applications? Because it's,
you know what, Winston, I didn't think about that as much, and that's not a bad idea. Can I steal that?
Sure, man. So
Thanks, man.
yeah.
I might.
So the reason why I was bringing that up, especially when you're talking about law enforcement, you're talking about municipalities and things like that. A lot of times, the water gets kind of mucky because you're talking about certain political agendas. You're talking about budget.
Yep.
You're talking about the legal challenges that may happen with civilians having access to acts of crime and a blockchain um, ecosystem. And if you
Uh-huh.
have maybe phone carriers where these individuals have access and it's their personal phone, and perhaps they press a button, maybe sort of 911 or star 911, and the phone automatically goes into record mode, both audio and visual,
Yeah.
then sends a
Yeah.
location identifier, and then sends out, the person has a list of emergency contacts and then sends out information to those
Yeah.
emergency contacts, and then the phone. And so the thing about it is it's not something that's going to be used all the time if you do the licensing, but if you make it sort of a part of the phone feature, perhaps that's something that can be beneficial. I do know that the government, there are devices out there where that as long as the battery's in the phone can record things, and that's I know that issue happened with the past president of Panama while he was incarcerated. He was using technology by the government to record conversations of his competitors, and which was illegal. I know that there was something going on with Samsung a while back where they were recording vicariously the use of their products with their customers. So there's all types of sort of smart and sneaky technology out there that, if it's
Uh-huh.
used for the safety and betterment of the civilian. My biggest concern with this particular product is the legal challenges and how
Yeah.
intertwined you can get with giving access in the blockchain. And really, that's the challenge what the government has with blockchain, is the fact that there is no regulatory body out there that can control what happens with that information.
Right.
So
That's what I like about it.
okay. But
And that's what I like about it, because that way the government cannot come in, a DA cannot come in and manipulate that data, or a bad actor, if you will, can't come in and manipulate that data. It's facts. That's what I want to record. I want to record facts, so that way we can all agree on what is objective reality in a critical situation. And then, the powers that be, they can't say this didn't happen if it's on this blockchain. It did happen. It's, and for the criminals as well. I want everybody to agree on truth, and I want everybody to have to live up to the truth.
got you. All right. So, Adam, we're nearing towards the end of the show. And
Okay.
as you know, we talked about it briefly at the beginning of the show, what the item stands for.
Yeah.
For the audience, is the Inclusive Technology and Entrepreneurship Movement. And the
Yeah.
mission of the item is to focus on that everyone can participate in the emerging tech sector. And my question
Yes.
to you is,
Definitely.
what are some of the steps that the tech ecosystem can take to address the challenges of diversity and inclusion?
That's a good question. I worked very hard to find the right type of programmers for what I want to do, and I've searched up and down for programmers and developers that have a diverse background, women, trans, my friend, black guy who's really into this. And one of the bigger problems is that there are not enough trained groups of people in this sector. So I'm a really big fan of like girl develop it and any kind of education and training mechanism to get the kids, to get the younger girls to start them early on in getting interested in engineering and computer engineering in particular, because that is, a lot of jobs are going to be automated, but not that one, not yet.
Okay.
And
Cool.
so to
So
train the youth, be a mentor, and let's just keep building up.
right.
Yeah, that's what I think is important.
So the great thing about the item, through its flexible, low-cost training and its resource to new techies, it creates a
Yeah.
pipeline to career pathways in the emergency technology sector. So there are various groups, meetup groups, one of which you'll be attending in the future, that really introduce the idea of careers in technology to women, to people of color or religious and age backgrounds. We got to talk about the issues of ageism and what sort of senior developers and individuals that have been in the tech space for a long time can bring, because we're talking about diverse equity and what that brings to the bottom line of a company. So with that said,
Yep.
what are the three takeaways that you can give to our audience from this interview experience?
Okay. Um, well, the takeaway is I want I want everyone to know that this is out there and it can be used to keep themselves and their friends and family safer. I want every every party that has from the victim to the perp to the police to the DA to the first responders. I want this data and this truth mechanism to be out there to guarantee that what happened really happened. And finally, I guess a lot of people are not aware of this, so I guess I should bring it up. The blockchain, to me, I'm not interested in. I mean, it's interesting, but I'm not interested in like cryptocurrency for currency's sake. The value of the blockchain to me and a lot of other people who are starting to work in this field is that it can be used for so many ways to verify data, to verify facts, and it can be incorruptible. And that is important to me. And hopefully it'll save some lives.
Okay. Well, thank you again for joining
Thanks,
us
Winston.
on our podcast. This is your host, Winston Bailey, bringing you another
Awesome.
awesome guest to the Going Up podcast. And we look forward to sharing more guests next week. Take care.
Winston, take care, man.
Yeah.